Could you tell me how you can believe in one man who couldn't read, couldn't write?
4 million of your sisters and your aunties and your cousins, they can't get husbands. What is the answer? I said, this book gives you the answer. Problem of alcohol, you have no answers. 2,000 years you are fumbling. This book gives you the answer.
I could answer that by saying, what about the kidnapping in Lebanon, which was done by Muslims? What about the Iraqi-Iran war, which is done by Muslims? What about all the other things? No, listen, you misunderstand the point I'm making.
During one of his most fascinating interfaith debates, Ahmed Deedat was confronted by a Christian teacher who believed he had found two powerful arguments against Islam. How could Muslims follow a prophet who could neither read nor write? And how could they believe in a religion that was supposedly spread through bloodshed and the sword? At first glance, these questions seemed difficult to answer. But what followed was a remarkable exchange that completely changed the direction of the debate. Drawing from the Bible, history, and simple logic, Ahmed Deedat challenged the assumptions behind both accusations and presented an argument that left many in the audience thinking.
Could you tell me how you can believe, and indeed anybody in this room can believe, in one man who couldn't read, couldn't write, indeed could get his followers by bloodshed through war, how you can believe that that man was a follower of God, let alone a prophet of God, and to accept all his teachings as you do so glibly, and yet reject Christianity and the holy book of Christianity?
That how can we believe in a man who was illiterate and who by bloodshed, who had spread his faith, converted the people? Now with regards to the man being unlearned, this is a fulfillment of the prophecy in your book. A fulfillment. The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, verse 12. It says there, and the book is given to him that is not learned. The book, please. The book is given to him that is not learned, saying, read. And he says, I am not learned. Now, if you look for in the religious history of man, in the Bible, you will never find an occasion where any prophet of God, when given the message of God, he says, I'm not learned. But if you read any biography of Muhammad, any written by Muslims or non-Muslims, they will tell you that the first revelation that was given to him.
In fact, Ahmed Deedat's point is profound. Far from disqualifying Muhammad from prophethood, his inability to read or write becomes one of the strongest arguments in favor of his divine mission. Think about it. An unlettered man, living in the deserts of Arabia, produced a book that transformed history, challenged the world's greatest civilizations, and continues to guide more than 2 billion people today. A man who could neither read nor write delivered a message containing spiritual guidance, moral principles, laws, and insights that continue to inspire humanity centuries later. For Deedat, this was not evidence against Muhammad. It was evidence for him. The very fact that such a book came through an unlettered man points not to human genius, but to divine revelation. But Ahmed Deedat was not finished. He then turned to the second accusation, the claim that Islam spread by the sword.
The second charge, that he spread his religion by bloodshed. You see, you know your great man, your great men. Thomas Carlyle, you heard about him? One of the greatest thinkers of the past century. In 1840, in England, he delivered a series of talks on heroes and hero worship. And you know whom he chose as his hero prophet? Muhammad. Not David, not Solomon, not Moses, not Jesus, but Muhammad as his hero prophet. And he defends Muhammad. Listen to him, Thomas Carlyle. He says about this accusation of yours, sir, the sword. He said, the sword indeed. But where will you get your sword? He said, every new opinion at its beginning is precisely in the minority of one. It is one man against all men.
Yes, one man against all men. Think about that for a moment. How does a single individual stand up against an entire society, challenge its beliefs, confront its traditions, oppose its powerful leaders, and then succeed in changing the course of history? Can such a transformation really be explained by the sword alone? The claim simply does not withstand scrutiny. Muhammad was not a politician telling people what they wanted to hear. Politicians gain support by appealing to popular desires. Muhammad did the opposite. His people loved alcohol and he told them to abandon it. They were attached to gambling, and he prohibited it. They accepted corruption, exploitation, and immorality, and he challenged them to leave those practices behind. Again and again he called people away from their desires and toward discipline, responsibility, and accountability before God. If his message was merely a quest for power, it was a very strange way to pursue it. So we must ask, was it really the sword that transformed Arabia? Was it the sword that carried Islam to places where no Muslim army ever marched? Was it the sword that made Indonesia home to the largest Muslim population on earth? Was it the sword that spread Islam across vast regions of East and West Africa? Is it the sword that continues to attract thousands of people to Islam every year in Europe, America, and beyond? Or was it something far more powerful? Perhaps the real force behind Islam's spread was not the sword of steel, but the sword of truth, conviction, and reason. A sword can force a person to submit outwardly. It cannot force a person to believe inwardly, and that is a question worth thinking about. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum.